everybody, welcome to Raising Vibrations. This is Simon, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a video on Uranus going direct, Mars and Venus that are going to be moving into two different signs, and sharing with you an overall perspective of how to maybe incarnate most of these energies that are going to be taking place for us right now. So a little bit of an astrological update for us. Okay, so just over 4 or 5 days ago, Uranus went direct. And this was a significant thing for most of us, I believe. And the reason why I feel this way is because, you know, when Uranus goes direct in our astrological charts, what generally occurs for us, or what most of the time occurs for us, is that we get a lot of deep insight or flashes of insight that occur in our lives if we're paying attention to them, that allow us to solve certain problems that we have within our lives and what we're currently going through astrologically and such. And it gives us this opportunity to, through that flash of insight, be able to observe an issue from a different perspective, from an objective perspective, and give us the opportunity to then, from that objective perspective, see how we can liberate Uranus ourselves from whatever circumstances that have been keeping us in some way, shape, or form locked in. Okay, so Saturn would play that role of the blockages, as it were. You know, our sense of identity, our sense of definitions, our sense of what we perceive reality to be, and how we've crystallized that becomes, in some way, shape, or form, the very prison cell that stops us from seeing. And when Uranus goes direct, it gives us that flash of insight that says, okay, go in that direction, you know, or see it from that point of view, or, you know, solve it from that perspective. So in terms of understanding this archetype more deeply within our psyche, and of course within the collective consciousness, we've got to remember that Uranus in itself reflects our individuated sense of identity. So if you had to draw a line going, you know, linear like that, and you were to say this is where your past lives were and this is the direction that your soul is heading. Now, the past, in this case, would represent the experiences that you've had that are specific to you, okay? And the blueprints of the future are represented through flashes of insight relative to where your soul intends to go. So before we can even grasp this concept, we need to understand that the soul in itself already makes these paths for it prior to incarnation, because that is what its journey is about. So Uranus plays that individuated path, which is why you'll notice wherever it is in your birth chart, you always have a very sort of strong sense of identity regarding yourself. It will carry with it strong traumas regarding rejection. You will carry with yourself strong traumas regarding not feeling integrated into certain things because your way of seeing things might be a little bit too futuristic, as it were, or outdated in some way, shape, or form. And so by recognizing that archetype from the past, it brings into the present all of the types of specific scenarios that have occurred for you, like for you personally as a soul. And then, as I said, the flashes of insight then bring to us the idea of where the soul intends to go. So it brings us a sense of, like I said, a flash of insight, an epiphany, or a light bulb goes off, electricity, right? It stimulates that aspect of us. And then we act in accordance with that if we are awake to the fact that that's actually what's happening. And I suppose a part of me wants to share that a lot of the story that I'm talking about right now regarding Uranus is the realization that, firstly, if we were to access the truth of what these symbols and archetypes mean in our birth charts, we've got to honor the fact that each of these symbols, each of these archetypes is a representation of ourselves, and that it is within ourselves, okay? And that those show us ways in which we interact with the dream state, the world that we live within, and how we interact with it will be our relationship to our karma. So if we can wrap our heads around that process, if we can recognize that that is what is occurring here, then when we interact and interface with those transits, or when Uranus is going direct, we can access a dimension within ourselves that is incredibly deep. It's on a soul level. And it allows us to actually alter and change the past in accordance, or what has occurred in accordance with what is present for us right now. And Uranus does that. That's what Uranus does. It gives us this capacity for us to change our paths and awaken ourselves to something that is more meaningful, more deeper within our lives. So as Uranus goes direct at this point in time, it's been in Aries for, since 2012, 2011 actually. And what's fascinating about this archetypal structure is that the first layer is that it's in the sign of Aries. So of course the electrical imprinting that we're getting regarding who we are and what we are is go in that direction. Instinctually just follow that direction. We don't know what we're doing. We just know that we've got to break free from the old. Okay, so what we have is this collective feeling of people breaking out into different directions and randomly following pursuits and then seeing other people do that and then going, yeah, that's what I want to do. And people are then awakening to a sense of direction that they never knew was possible because Uranus is electrifying this necessity in Aries to discover and explore and pioneer. Then, of course, it's squaring Pluto. And we know that Pluto is in Capricorn at this stage. So, of course, Pluto is then destroying the nature of or allowing our fabric within ourselves to then change. Okay, and this is pretty deep stuff in that sense, because as Uranus says, pioneer in that direction, be free, Pluto is saying, okay, well, as long as you are allowing yourself to be, in a sense, emancipated from the constrictions of your life, it can be various things. It can be the way that you choose to eat food that has changed. It is the way that you have relationships to people that has changed. It's maybe the home, maybe it's the marriage that you had, etc. Whatever the types of dynamics that are available for you and what are occurring in your life, as you felt this impulsive need to spring out and go in a different direction, Pluto said, okay, well, I'll just then stop, allowing this old reality to exist. And I think that this is what's probably been very scary for many people, is this Pluto-Uranus square, because it has reconstructed, reshaped, rediverted the nature of reality. And we've interpreted this in many different ways. Like, for instance, somebody was asking me what my opinions were on the thoughts on the flat earth theory, as an example. Think about your own relationship to an idea of how you interpreted reality in relationship to now exploring these new dynamics. Think about how that Uranus has electrified a new direction of interpreting reality, and Pluto saying no longer do we live in a globe anymore. Now, my thoughts and opinions are reserved at this point in time because I'm busy creating an entire video sharing with you my own perspective on it. But you understand what I'm trying to say about this, right? Okay, another example of reconstruction. For me personally, I have Pluto transiting my 12th house, and I have Uranus in my 3rd house at this stage, transiting. And I think what's really interesting, and I just want to, so I don't lose everybody over here, I'm still talking about Uranus going direct and the ideas around it, etc. But I'm trying to give some contextual background as to why this experience is the way that it is. So I hope everybody's following. So I have Pluto 12th house, Uranus 3rd house. And what has happened for me in the last 3.5 years is that I've had to allow myself to, in the context of my astrology, to surrender to a lot of things. But also at the same time, as I've surrendered to a lot of things, it allowed myself to actually discover myself, which is pretty profound in that sense. The Uranus in Aries at this point in time has given me this capacity for a new language. And I think that that's truly amazing for me, because I felt, for me personally, a lot of my karma is about learning how to be able to speak and communicate in ways where I take large quantities of information and big thoughts, etc., and put it into something that is bite-sized but has a profound effect. It's almost as if, like, you've got this little small candy sweet over here that's the sourest in the world, and you go, how can that thing pack a punch? And you eat it, and all of a sudden you're just like, that's the intention. So a lot of my karma is about living in countries and living in spaces and living in environments and surrounded by people that generally don't actually speak my own language, so that I can learn what it's like to live on the other side of not being able to digest or understand completely everything that is being shared with me, so that I can then have this direct experience of understanding put stuff into very simple terms, and to in a sense communicate, right? And to a certain degree, I think I'm doing okay. I wouldn't say that I'm probably above B at this point in time. I still believe that a lot of what I share with you guys, and of course with through articles and writings, etc., requires quite a lot of attention. And I practice as much as I can to get it across. And this is one of the reasons why I actually have the YouTube, which was what I was getting to regarding the 12th house and the Uranus thing is that I surrendered to something that was a dream. And what came out of it was two things. One, writing with Wake Up World, which has been an absolute amazing experience to be part of a community of souls that have the genuine interest of humanity at heart and so on and so forth, and are willing to dedicate a specific amount of time of their own consciousness to, in some way, shape, or form, bring awareness to whatever it is that you're exploring. And I think that a part of that experience is also learning how to recognize that as you do that, you self-discover. So it's just not about like, I'm doing this for everybody else. It's not the case. I'm doing it for myself, but I'm sharing that in a space in its most organic and natural way, which I've been shown consistently that every single time there's an element where that might not be occurring for me, then I get kind of like somebody comes into my life or somebody comes into an experience and says, hey, by the way, just kind of angle it this way, or just tone it down there, or move it across like that. And then what happens is that I get this understanding of, okay, that's where I'm going. This is what I need to do, etc., etc. And so YouTube got born out of this experience. Uranus in Aries in my third house. This was this new direction that allowed me to express myself and to really feel like I could actually share my essence with the rest of you. But also to feel as if there's a community, right? Because that's a big thing for me, is to be the ability to feel like I'm a part of a community. But what also came out of it was the fact that a lot of my own story is about taking, again, as I said, information that doesn't seem as if it has any context for our lives right now, bringing it into the present from the future, and then going, hey, by the way, this is our potential. Hey, by the way, this is the way that we've got to see ourselves in some way, shape, or form, right? I'm not saying that I'm the priest here and you've got to follow these rules. No, what I mean is that this is our potential, this is our possibility. And Uranus, whenever it's in the third house, will always break the old definitions, and it will fracture it and stop the essential ways in which you've defined yourself in the past, and give you new ways of expressing yourself. And so this is why I sit here today sharing this with you, because as within my own Uranus going direct, has allowed me to access a part of my consciousness, a part of my language, a part of my state of being that is essentially boundless and essentially limitless. And as 2016 comes on, and I put more time into the YouTube over here, you guys are going to start to see what I mean when I say taking the nature of what we are as human beings and extending it beyond, all right, so that we have this deep, strong connection to our karma, which is the physical existence of our bodies and the reason, but also breaking the boundaries of what we understand or come to understand about the nature of life in galactic ways. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to go big, or I'm not doing this at all. So, and that's given me the sense of really stepping into my vulnerabilities and saying, there's a possibility that everybody could think I'm a little bit crazy. Uranus in the third house, right? Because everybody else is going, where does this guy come from? Why is he sharing these things that has, like, it doesn't make sense. It's too fractured or out there. Anyway, so for me, that's that process, and this is what's occurring for me right now. I'm going to share it with you guys as 2016 goes on, and to kind of wrap up what I'm talking about here with regards to Uranus in going direct is that wherever it sits in your birth chart, it's going to give you this capacity to, for the final time, because it's not going to be hitting Pluto anymore, for the final time, because it's not going to be opposing Uranus, it's not going to be opposing Mars anymore in Libra in retrograde. It's not going to be in the second decan of Aries anymore. It's going to be trailblazing through 17, 18, 19, 20 degrees. And then eventually when it gets to 20 degrees, we're going to be now needing to integrate the work that we did as we discovered the new ways of expressing ourselves between 10 and 20. All right, so the first 10 degrees is about breaking down. The second 10 to 20 degrees is about learning and discovering new ways of doing things. And then the 20 to 30 part of the aspect is about the growth. It's about the expansion. So I challenge everybody at this point in time to find yourself in a place where you're really analyzing where your individuality is and how your individuality is coming through where nobody else has done what you've done. I.e., who are you? What have you got to share? And how much of it are you going to reflect to us, reflect to the world, reflect, like show up basically and express? The polarity point of Aquarius is Leo, so it's the sun. So where are you? Where are you pulsating from? What are you vibrating on? And allow yourself to feel that energetic vibration of the next sort of year and a half of Uranus in Aries is going to be trailblazing. This is the time where you awaken yourself up to the truth of your highest authentic good. Saturn's in Sag, trining that whole process there, as you know, in the chart of the day. So why not take this opportunity to just emancipate yourself from all the physical limitations that weigh you down in terms of energetic debris, etc., and literally just imagine yourself just expanding with your wings and just opening up and recognizing the fullness of who you are and what you are, and then being that and see where it takes you. Show us what type of uncharted waters exist. Show us where it has never been before. Show us and reveal to us what the dimension of life looks like from your perspective. And when I say show us, I don't mean it in the sense of show me and somebody sends me an email with the iPhone video saying, hey, look, Simon, this is what I did. No, I don't mean it that way. I mean it just in the sense of like wherever you are, whatever it is, show up for yourself and allow Uranus to give you that inspiration to finally just give yourself that spark of interest. And when you're dealing with Uranus, you're dealing with the sense of a puzzle piece, or should I say puzzle pieces, where there's many different types of puzzle pieces lying on the ground. And Uranus will give you a puzzle piece, and then you'll be like, it doesn't make sense. Okay, I'll remember where you are. And then you'll kind of find another puzzle piece. Pardon me, Uranus will show you another puzzle piece. And you'll pick it up and you're like, okay, that's recognizable. That doesn't look too far into the distant future. I'll follow that path. And eventually over a period of time, you start building with these puzzle pieces by putting them together and remembering different aspects, recurring themes. This is what I'm trying to say. Repeating themes will come to you, repeating flashes of insight. Somebody will say something, then you'll read it on a billboard, and then you'll come up on your phone, or somebody will again say the same thing. Over a period of time, you follow those little cookie trails, as it were. And eventually you start to put the pieces together in the puzzle, and eventually it becomes this big like image. And this image in itself is what Uranus is trying to try and say, but it could only be perceived from the point of view of following the path until you get to that point and you go, aha, this is what it was all about. It's fascinating how that works. And, you know, we're moving into an age where the need to vibrate on a higher frequency to really truly activate the human being is available for us right now. So are we going to operate on this lower frequency where we just choose to be like, you know, follow the rules, do all these types of things? Or are we going to go like, okay, I'm an infinite being incarnating myself from different star systems, and every single time I bring all of myself to the table, I feel the cosmos just coursing through my blood. I mean, that's how I truly feel in that sense as well. So just something to sort of kind of like excite you in terms of the possibility and the potential for feeling as if like there's meaning to your existence, versus maybe feeling the Pluto move through Capricorn of futility, and there's no point, and you know, nothing's ever going to change, and it's just the way that it is, versus I'm here fully incarnating myself, recognizing that I chose this choice, and whatever it is that I have come to understand about myself, I'm discovering it. Mars in Scorpio. Mars is finishing it up. It's finishing its transit in Libra, and of course we're going to be learning about fairness and balance and harmony, etc., etc. And now it's time for us to commit to those stories. So Mars moving through Scorpio is going, let's do this. It's going to be an interesting dynamic, because as Mars moves through Scorpio, it's going to bring to us the types of dynamics that were related to Saturn and Scorpio, of course, of finalizing this new direction for commitment. So this is a commitment phase. The next month and a half is commitment. How are you going to commit to your story? How are you going to get disciplined to your story? How are you going to show yourself to the table and really, really bring everything that you are to whatever it is that you want to be, whatever it is that you want to progress through, etc., etc. Okay. Venus moves into Sag, and what's interesting about Venus moving into Sag is that it's, to me personally, it's about, and of course this is what I say, is how do you become authentic in your expression? How do you align your sense of values, your new sense of values, your new sense of authentic self with a new belief system? And how does that then facilitate the new direction that you're looking for? For me, for instance, I'm putting a lot more into YouTube. I'm reconstructing the way that I do certain things regarding the way that I want to spread my message and so on and so forth. And it's allowing me to become more flexible in certain areas. And it also allows me to have more time for me to actually recharge myself, so that when I actually do these videos, I'm coming at you at 150 megawatts, and just bringing all the energy to you so that you can absorb this and then go, okay, now I'm ready to do this. So for me, it's about spending the next month with Venus, just reflecting upon your philosophies and sense of what is natural for you. What is your organic way of being? What is your own laws? What is your spiritual definitions? Not what somebody else tells you, not from a book you read, but from the way that you inwardly respond to your body. As an example, if you're getting angry about something, ask yourself, why am I angry? Anger is a good thing when you understand that it's there to stimulate a sense of discomfort around something that needs attention, as an example. So these are all the kinds of things that I would be recommending thinking about when Mars moves into Scorpio and it's about commitment, and Venus moves into Sag, saying, what do I believe and what is my natural spirituality? Not, again, what is my personal experience of life, and how do I associate my life with what is going on for me versus what is being told to me. Okay? Fantastic, guys. Thanks so much for being here with me in the sense, sharing your space with me. I highly appreciate it. As always, I love chatting to you in that sense and sharing these videos, and I'm going to be bringing you tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of content. So I hope that that excites you in some way, shape, or form. And to everyone that has written to me regarding, comments, etc., and shared your love and so on and so forth, I appreciate it 110%. I read every single comment, and as much as I might not type to every single one of you, I do appreciate everything that you say and watch these videos. So I'm deeply honored that I can get this message out there and somebody's actually listening in that way. Other than that, guys, have a fantastic week. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button as the videos then get more success from YouTube, and YouTube says, hey, this is a good video, it's ranking really, really well. So if you do that, that will definitely allow this channel to actually get more exposure, which means that we can actually have a lot more stronger community, having some really, really good information disseminated into our consciousness and what is real. Okay. Other than that, guys, have a fantastic week. Take care. Bye-bye.